New modes, dog tags, mini-games, and an in-game concert. The celebration for World of Tanks' birthday has become an unusual large-scale event. Why has the 9th anniversary been celebrated on such a grand scale? How did the Offspring end up in the game? How did the pretty fly tank turn out and what's unique about it? Sit back, we'll tell you everything.
The festival coincided with the birthday of World of Tanks. We wanted to do something new. We wanted players to learn more about the country that World of Tanks originated in. Therefore, the in-game hangar is located in a park in Minsk, all while telling a story and giving players a real celebration for the birthday of World of Tanks. 9 years. It's strange. It's not yet 10, but more than 5. How do you mark it? Well, it's still a significant milestone. And accordingly, the festival was an event that was new and would grab players' attention.
And there were plenty of new additions. Dog tags, the new Steel Hunter mode, a new frontline map, the release of a Tier 9 reward tank, and it's all been capped off with the return of a fan favorite, tank races.
We discussed what we could add to make the festival as atmospheric as possible. And of course, the word festival immediately brings the notion of a rock festival. But even when a festival is not directly related to music, it's normally there in one way or another. At any festival, there's always some sort of headliner, and we understood we needed one.
We started working on finding a headliner for Tank Festival at the end of 2018. We had a short list of about 30 bands, and The Offspring was at the top.
To me, The Offspring share the same spirit as our players, as well as our game. When we spoke to the band, we didn't have to explain what kind of game it was. They were eager. They wanted to know more about our plan of action. We realized then that they were the right band to headline.
Yeah, well, we did a festival for World of Tanks a few years ago now. And that was the first time I'd actually heard of World of Tanks and Wargaming. But, so I guess we've known about it for about 5 years now?
Something like that, yeah.
At the start, we weren't sure what the Tank Festival headliner was supposed to do. But we knew that we wanted to use the band's music in the game, one way or another. We considered the possibility of adding some kind of concert recordings and clips. But in the end, it became clear that concert recordings or music videos, well, fans can see those anytime, elsewhere. But some unique content with mocap technology, that would be something special for our players.
When we chose The Offspring, we didn't imagine how big our partnership would become. They were just so motivated that what plans we discussed with them, they generally agreed to it. So with our imagination running wild, we pitched even more ideas to them. When we decided to suggest the idea of a virtual concert, they said yes. After that, we weren't constraining ourselves, and you can see exactly what happened.
When we talked with the band, we had to describe how it would be epic, cool, and interesting. But we didn't have any drawings or illustrations to show them. However, without the concept art, there was still something trustworthy in what we were pitching. The band really liked our idea, even though they didn't know how it would end up. They liked it so much, they replied that they were interested in working with us.
I don't know what kind of expectations we had. You know, it was really kind of, it was a little bit of a leap of faith. You know, what we had seen, it looked like a really cool, cool medium, cool game. So we thought this could be really fun. But I don't know if we have any expectations.
I just think it's cool the way that they've taken the idea of a collaboration between a band and the game and just tried to explore lots of different things that you could do. Like a concert was a natural thing to try. And while it almost sounded strange at first, so you're gonna do an animated version of us in concert? When I saw the finished product, I thought it was great.
Virtual concerts are a relatively new concept. We wanted it to be as detailed as possible. We wanted to make animations for the entire song, not just sections which are looped, and to do this for each band member. We haven't tackled projects of this scale, length, and sheer amount of content before.
The concert in the garage lasts about 10 minutes. The set list is 5 songs long. The songs were chosen together with the band and the audio team, who were responsible for the musical accompaniment.
I think we went back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
They had requested a bunch of songs, and we came back with stuff that we wanted to be included and stuff, and sort of settled on it. But you know, we wanted to be some of our best songs, some of the songs that people are the most well known to, and that's kind of where we ended up, I guess.
While the team and the band were choosing songs, the artists had already started work on the 3D models.
Well, it all started with asking the guys exactly how they wanted to look when performing in the game.
We chose, and based on pretty much what we wear on stage, you know. I took photos of what I'll be wearing on stage tonight, actually, and sent it to them. We took pictures of our tattoos and sent that in, and different shots of our heads so they could get it from different angles.
Yeah, and that was another great thing about working with World of Tanks, is that they really paid attention to the detail, and they saw what we were wearing and wanted to make it look just like the way we are in real life and stuff. And like you said, taking pictures of everything and really trying to make it look like it's really us.
We addressed the musicians directly, and they helped us out. The guys made tons of selfies while on tour, from different angles. They were also photobombing each other often, so judging by the photos, it was fun for them. So yes, they provided us with everything we had asked for, and we could feel they were engaged. While creating models, we kept in mind that they would be demonstrated from the distance of 8 meters.
I look way better CGI than I do in real life, I think. I'm a lot more interesting.
I'm going to make sure that all my friends have it for their phones, so when I call, it's going to be the CGI of me, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
So I'm going to use it as my avatar on all social media.
Yes.
Along with creating the models, we prepared to record the band's movements using motion capture technology.
With the idea of recreating a concert using mocapping, you evidently face the necessity of using professional actors so that movements seem natural. At least you need to be able to play an instrument convincingly. So yeah, you need to find actors. In our case, preferably with a musical background.
We involved professional actors to shoot the basis of the in-game animations. The band's role was to watch it back and let us know if the actions performed by their doubles were natural.
I must admit that the actors involved in the motion capture were well prepared for filming. When we arrived at the set, they took their places on stage, tuned their instruments, and started gearing up to play live. When we brought out the speakers and turned on the music, they were shocked. In fact, the drummer came over to me saying, "What, music?" It was my turn to be astounded. Fancy that. They had learned to play all the songs that needed to be recorded, as they were 100% sure that there would be no music. They had no idea that they were just supposed to pretend to play and open their mouths, articulating words. Given their level of preparation, it's no surprise that the shooting process was a breeze.
After we were done with mocapping, our artists were challenged with refining the animations manually and smoothing the transitions between gestures. After 3 weeks of toil, we have the draft version of the concert.
Up until this point, things couldn't have gone better. No delays, everything was great. We were on schedule. And then, well, the problems all started when I tried to export the animations and integrate them into the game. This is when I faced a most ridiculous technical obstacle. Fancy that. The animations for our New Year event were 20 to 22 megabytes in total. But a single song for this in-game show amounted to 1.5 gigabytes, and that doesn't include guitars, stage lighting, and other items. So obviously, these 5 songs can't fit the limit of about 60 megabytes. The worst thing was that when this obstacle presented itself, we had only 3 weeks to go before launch. All was ready. The feature was fully implemented. The posts announcing the Offspring show in the garage has been released. No way back, but still, the songs just wouldn't fit. In a nutshell, we exerted all efforts and ways, eventually managing to squeeze the whole concert into a 65 megabyte limit, instead of the initial 1.5 gigabytes for a song. I must express a huge and sincere thank you to all our technical guys, programmers, and to our animation team in particular. Together, we succeeded and made this colossal project work as it was meant to.
After we gathered together all the captured movements, final animations, and the songs that had been recorded in a studio and later processed in a special manner, it turned out that something was missing.
Watching the recorded animation was fun, but you didn't get the chills of a true concert.
The animated characters moved like real. The sound was authentic, the lighting was on point, every single thing was fine individually. But combined, they failed to deliver an experience of a live show.
Initially, we tried to use the noise of a crowd watching a match or some other big sports event. But when added to the video, the result was, well, far from what we expected.
So, we decided to record the noise produced by a real crowd at a real concert to render our animated in-game show sound authentic.
At this point, we somehow found out that the Offspring were on their European tour at the time. It was like Eureka. Why not witness a real show and record the actual crowd's noise on site? Maybe we might even record them chanting Offspring. So we packed quickly and headed off to Finland just to attend their show. Basically, we boarded the plane, did some recording at the gig, and flew back. After we added this recording to the video, the unanimous reaction was, yes, this is the show. And I must say that several weeks before the release, I kept watching it over and over, switching between cameras and enjoying the way the whole thing worked.
We decided to show the video to the band in portions, step by step, to ensure they liked how they look, how they move, how their instruments are designed, all the details, from clothes and hair to the expressions on their faces. By doing this, we really let the band get accustomed to their first in-game concert gradually, in the smoothest way possible. And when we sent them the final version, their first reaction was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's fun for us to see us animated like that. I think I'm pretty animated to begin with. But
you are.
Yeah.
You are,
but to see them take take us and make kind of CGI characters out of us has really been a lot of fun.
Many players reacted to the video in ways that we as a team who had worked on the project are really proud to hear. Gratitude, joy. Their comments are brimming with it. Many point out that the Offspring are one of their favorite bands, that they still remember their songs and have been fans since as early as the 90s. And of course, such feedback, in turn, fills us with joy.
We decided not to limit the collaboration to a virtual concert and asked the Offspring to headline the live show at Wargaming Fest in Minsk.
It's a little different playing outdoors in a park, that sort of setting. It's not something that we do every day, but we've played in Minsk here before a few times, I think, and we've always had really great shows.
The in-game concert might have been available for just a few weeks, but we knew that our players would want to keep the Offspring in their garages forever, so we gave the band their own virtual tank.
Such an extension of our partnership seemed logical. However, we faced some questions from the Offspring when we first pitched the concept.
The band had plenty of questions, but the main thing they wanted to know was, what type of tank will we be driving, and is it punk rock? They didn't just leave it up to us. They wanted to be as involved in the process as possible. As a pioneering punk band, we knew their tank couldn't be slow or rely on standing still. It had to be something agile, able to deal some serious damage, and most importantly, be fun to play. The tank we chose perfectly fit the mold. An American-made vehicle you can take for an enjoyable ride. All with a punk rock ethos.
We suggested that the tank could also double as a stage, and real instruments would be featured on the exterior. These instruments were replicated from the exact equipment the band uses at live shows.
Dexter and Noodles both have unique guitars. Noodles has an old one wrapped in duct tape or something similar. He uses it on stage to shred some specific solos, so he doesn't play it all the time. It's a venerable instrument, and you can see he's had it for a long time. It's worn down in areas. Initially, we didn't intend to put that guitar on the tank, but I suggested that it was the one. It just looks picturesque. A new guitar is a bit too plain, whereas an old one like this looks like it's his. It's been played, repaired, and played again, and really conveys the spirit of the band. It's pretty much the same for Dexter's guitar, the one with rugged coating. He also doesn't play it at every show, but he brings it out for some special guitar work. Also, there are fire extinguishers on the tank because the Offspring are known to douse crowds with them at their shows. Once we were decided on the concept of a mobile stage, certain elements came together. It became clear that the tank should feature a mixing console, some monitors, guitars, etc., all wired up. So, we tried to connect every piece of equipment with the turret where all the cables came from. It wasn't just a case of dumping a pile of stuff on the tank. It was about arranging everything so it looked good as a whole. We made it look as realistic as possible with help from the band. Like, if the drummer enters from here, then he won't be able to get there. And if the bassist crawls out from here and his bass is there, he can take it from the rack, sit down, and play.
We wanted to incorporate the band's instruments on the tank. We were trying to figure out a cool way to do that, and so we went back and forth. And they had a lot of great ideas, and we came up with this sort of as a collaboration.
We did work with the designers. They weren't sure how to have the guitars on the tank, and we said, well, let's make them kind of point forward, make them look like weapons as well. They call them. We call guitars axes, so they are kind of like a weapon.
So it is a weapon, yeah. That's a good point.
And so we tried to make it look as much, like that, as well as obviously it is our musical equipment. And we actually, those are our real guitars that we have.
While discussing the scope of our partnership with the band, we were hoping to get them in the game. We knew it was possible in the form of a special tank crew. But then we realized that a unique tank was also an option, and that it could be highly customized. When we came up with the mobile stage concept, we understood that it should feature musical instruments. Also, if the Offspring were a tank crew, they might as well use the members' actual voices. It all kind of snowballed into a complete vision of a certain in-game avatar of the entire band.
The Offspring recorded their voices in their LA studio. We created a script for them with every single phrase needed, but also asked them to improvise and make some fun lines of their own.
And improvise they did. It wasn't an easy task. They had to speak after each other in rapid succession, repeating the same lines several times. They experimented with different deliveries, and sometimes in a more humorous way. So, we decided to add the laughs to the game too.
It was really fun. We would do each line like a few times to try to get it right or get the right emotion, I guess.
Yeah. Or different examples too.
Yeah. And there is kind of an art to doing voiceovers on these games, right? There's a certain cadence, a certain energy level, right? Like, you want to give an example of something?
Like you go over a bump, like whoa, and like whoa, whoa.
Try different ways.
A lot of different examples, right?
Yeah.
It's called acting.
Yes. Noodles, the turret is jammed. The turret is jammed.
Yeah.
Stuff like that,
With our collaboration with The Offspring based on music, it was very natural to introduce something completely new. A remix of The Kids Aren't All Right, specifically for the tank.
Kids Aren't All Right is just a good, straightforward rock one, so maybe that's good when you're...
It's like a good driving song.
Yeah, good driving song, exactly. Yeah.
The idea of putting our music in as background music to the game is even better. I think it adds to the experience.
Yeah,
and I think it's just so cool to have that be a part of the game, the music.
If I rode any tank into battle and heard the same song every time, I'm sure I'd get sick of it. In fact, I'd probably switch to another vehicle. So, we decided to create not one, but 3 tank-style remixes. 3 completely different versions which play randomly at the start of battle.
Our team doing the remixes was a little bit surprised when the first take got approval from the Offspring guys. The band absolutely loved the remixes. It all went really smoothly.
Our collaboration with the Offspring went so well that we didn't receive a single change request. We just put those remixes together, showed them to the band, and they said, "Great job."
Along with providing their voices, the band members took part in a video to their unique tank.
The shoot was pure fun. The Offspring guys enjoyed themselves so much. Of course, it was a unique experience for them.
We expected the band to have more questions about how we do this. Like when they say, "We're in a tank," but in fact you are sitting on a chair with a green screen behind you. Only the final product will convey the story. And we didn't expect them to perform so well.
Yeah, try to imagine, well, first of all, having played games, and kind of knowing how the voices are for different things, that helped. And then also kind of trying to imagine ourselves in a tank and how we would feel,
in the moment.
Blowing each other up, yeah. Of course, it is a game. It's not really blowing each other up, which makes it easier,
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was a crazy idea. It was funny and really interesting. And
it was all green screen. So we were just sitting literally on a chair like this with the green screen behind us, and so we had to pretend we were in this tank. But I've seen some of the footage since, and it looks rad.
Looks great.
It looks really cool. Yeah.
It's really well done.
The pretty fly tank turned out to be completely punk rock. Daring, loud, dangerous. Now the Offspring will be in World of Tanks for good.
We assumed it would be nice to make something unique, but we didn't expect the tank to be this cool. With the band jumping in to become its crew and lending their voices and tracks to us, it just made it extra special. Bands are often busy, and the Offspring were on tour. Some of them were in America, and the approval process could have taken a lot of time. Yet we managed to do everything quickly and easily and without having to remake and rework lots of things. We did more than we planned because it was such a breeze when we collaborated, and we aimed for the best. And the tank fully corresponds to the band's image and spirit. It's very fast. It can cause a stir on one flank, then move to another and rock out there.
If you're playing a tank game, you're going to be aggressive, and there's definitely a lot of aggression in punk rock. So yeah, I think they would
they fit together
right?
Very well.
Yeah.
It's an adrenaline kind of thing. It looks exactly like our stuff looks, and it looks very punk rock. I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
It made us laugh when we saw it.
The Offspring collaboration became massive, just like the entire festival. Next year, it's going to be even bigger and better. But before that, players will have many surprises to look forward to.
We definitely work with Wargaming again and World of Tanks or any game that they want to do. We had a lot of fun on this, for sure.
Well, we're not really wrapping up the Offspring collab. We still have lots in store for our players.